Their old home has been overrun by walkers, so this season they'll need to find a new place to rest their head, be it in the middle of a desert or a luxury hotel, where the guests love it so much they're jumping for joy to their deaths. But will life in Mexico be any better than California? They might enjoy life a bit more if they get their Hausenberg videos early, because even in the apocalypse, I'll still be posting on my Patreon and members page. Time is running out, the dead are swarming the beach, and Strand only has a tiny dinghy to transport people and stuff to his yacht. Despite a close call where they have to give a walker some free dentistry work, they all make it safely to Strand's yacht, called Abigail, watching the city burn as they sail away, mourning the tragic loss of the 48 Starbucks locations in this one town. They soon run into their first dilemma, where they have the opportunity to save some stranded people. But Strand did his charitable act already by saving this family, and it would be foolish to take on any more people on this yacht. This dilemma giving them their first taste of the ruthlessness that they're going to need to get comfortable with if they intend on surviving.
If I stop the boat, it'll be to drop folks off, not take them on.
Can't stop, Maddie. It's not safe.
Alicia has been tasked with scanning the radio broadcasts so they can keep an ear on what's happening out there. But then a young, friendly voice comes through that grabs her attention.
Come on. Please talk to me.
And so she does, and they become pen pals, with a slight crush developing. Daniel noticed that Strand already packed his bags before they arrived at his house, so he suspects that he already had a destination in mind that he's not sharing with the rest. He claims to be heading to San Diego, but Daniel has his doubts.
So are we watching?
I have been.
It's time for Liza's funeral, and Travis is giving a fairly nice send-off speech, but then along comes Chris and just chucks her in the ocean. He's pissed at Travis for shooting her, feeling that it wasn't his right to. He didn't have a close bond with her anymore, and Chris has always felt betrayed by his devotion to the other family. His anger leading to this moment.
Chris, I'm sorry.
Here! You shot her!
Feeling isolated from the group by his own actions and attitude, he jumps off the yacht. So Nick dives in after him to ask what the hell you're doing.
I wanted to swim.
Ah. Okay. Swim.
And it turns out there's more than just a sulky teenager in these waters. There's a whole bunch of walkers bobbing around as a result of this upturned vessel that appears to have been attacked. Alicia gets a mayday from her new boyfriend Jack, so she tells him her location so that maybe they can be rescued. Naturally, Strand is pissed off, so as the captain he restates the rules.
Rule number 1, it's my boat. Rule number 2, it is my boat. If it weren't for me, you would all be burned.
She realises that she might have ballsed up here when Jack says that he's coming to find her. And Strand knows that she definitely ballsed up when the radar picks up an approaching vessel, meaning they've got to go now.
Someone's joining us. It could be the ones who did that.
One of my favourite openings. There's some walkers washing up on the beach, and these kids are playing nearby, seemingly oblivious to their impending doom. But they have no fear for the Walking Dead, as it's revealed they're behind a fence. The kids even leave them a welcoming gift of some seashells. Just what they've always wanted.
You shouldn't have.
Come in.
Travis retrieves the logbook from the upturned boat, where it reports that San Diego has fallen. But Strand isn't willing to give up on that destination, while at the same time recognising they can't stay on their current course, as Jack's vessel's on their tail, and so they divert to a nearby island to hide. They spot a light coming from the only house on this island, but when they arrive, the occupants are hesitant to come out, being very much used to seclusion, even before the apocalypse.
Sorry, he's excited to see people. It's been a while.
The main guy, George, is a little weird, but seems pretty much harmless, welcoming them in for a beer and a chat. Being a self-sufficient family, he's not too worried about the reports he's been getting about most of the US being declared as dead. He's also of the firm belief that what's happening to the world right now is just nature course correcting. But I'm not going to dwell on this too long, as we know that's not the case. Nick is being like a cool uncle to their kids, showing an interest in their interests. But then he finds himself being very unsettled as the young lad talks about a special pill that he's been told that he'll be taking one day to ensure that his family stays together.
It's like a vitamin. If I take it, my family stays together.
Very ominous. And Nick is curious to find out more, but for now moves the conversation along because he's the chill uncle here. The next morning, Chris follows their son Seth down to a fence, where he's taken out the gathering walkers to keep their perimeter secure, giving Chris the opportunity to learn how these things can be taken out.
That's good. Temple, socket, base and skull if their backs to you.
Seth, like the rest of his family, are really nice and accommodating, and you can't help but respect their practical and hard-working lifestyle, where they get to enjoy their independence from the mainland.
It's like a survivalist?
Nah, it's just self-reliant. Deliberate living, you know?
Maddie realises that it was the wife and mother, Melissa, who signalled their boat to stop with the light, as she has concerns that George is going to try and take out his own family if they're no longer able to stay on the island. While snooping around, Nick finds these special pills, and from his knowledge of pharmaceuticals, he knows these are the fatal kind. Strand makes a secret call where he's setting up a meet, and while he was off doing this, Daniel found out that his real destination is Mexico. The time for those special pills has come, as very upsettingly, daughter Willa already took hers. Melissa in her grief doesn't listen to the warnings, and so she gets bit. Now Travis and the family agree that it's time to get out of here. They attempt to take the young lad, Henry, but Seth hops on board the Abigail and says, "Hell no, you're not taking my brother anywhere." And as they set off, they witness a brutal moment where Seth gets Harry to stay focused on the boat, while he does the responsible thing of taking out their own mother. God, that's awful. But that episode was amazing. An airplane has crashed into the ocean. A lot of action going on in these waters. Out of these survivors, one is destined to die, as he got bit. And this kid is clinging on to life, after suffering horrendous burns. His new friend Alex doing all she can to keep him alive and protect him from being attacked by those who deem him to be dead already. Back on the yacht, they're having engine problems, and the only way to fix it is for Travis to dive down and find out what's blocking the intake, which turns out to be a walker, because what else would it be in this show? Completely unclogging all this is going to take some time, so while they're stuck here, they take the opportunity to go search the plane wreck, as some of it landed on a nearby beach. Daniel tells everyone to stay close and not venture off, so of course Chris doesn't stay close and ventures off. You know, on one hand, I do understand why this kid is so rebellious, resenting his dad over the split families, and recently taking out his mother. But on the other hand, there are so many times where you can't help but think he's kind of a dick. And that's why everybody hates Chris. There's a cool moment where Alicia takes a second to recognise that it finally feels like Nick is finding his feet and being a productive member of the family.
All these years never knowing where you were, what you were doing.
It's always there. I was just hungry.
Chris finds a guy still buckled to his airline seat, but he's in real bad shape, only realising how bad when he falls out his seat, seeing his spine sticking out his back. Chris actually does the humane thing here by putting him out his misery. So maybe sometimes everybody appreciates Chris. Nick comes across this walker, enjoying some crab legs at the buffet, and Nick accidentally falls in there with him. Alex runs into the gang, and they all get backed up to a beachhead, fighting off the approaching walkers. But it turns out Nick is among them, as he's discovered the walker blood disguise. They bring Alex and they burned up Jake back to the yacht, but Strand says no way, we've been over this. But they do find a middle ground, where it essentially still saves their lives. Travis coming up with the idea of keeping them on tow until they find a safe place to dock. Strand has finally revealed his Mexico plans, which I'm now learning is very close to his lie of a destination, San Diego. The episode ends with Strand getting his own way by waiting until sunset, when most of the people are getting ready for bed, to go out to the stern and sever the tow line. Nick swims ashore at an unknown location, and after making his way into an abandoned camp, he lures a walker to a tent so that he can jam a knife in its head and get handfuls of blood to make another disguise. A pregnant lady and 2 guys jump aboard the Abigail without permission, and naturally our guys are hesitant to shoot them, given their seemingly vulnerable state. But then Alicia recognises the guy's voice as Jack's, which is when they turn and reveal they're actually here to seize the ship. Reed, being the leader of their party, orders a search of the vessel to find Strand, but he's already rowing away, so Reed shoots a hole in his dinghy.
Did you get him?
If I didn't, the hypothermia will.
We then get a flashback where Strand is flirting with another businessman and drinking away his sorrows over his bankruptcy due to Hurricane Katrina. But when they drunkenly stumble back to the hotel room, Strand steals this guy's credit cards.
Boom, I got your wallet. Boom, I got your credit card.
They soon find him living the luxury life on this Thomas guy's expense. And instead of beating him up or reporting him to the police, Thomas obligates him to work for him until he's paid back his debt. Flashing forward sometime later, we see the two hanging out and sunbathing, where they have become more than just business partners.
This place makes me feel like the rest of the world has fallen away and we don't need it.
Strand is determined to close a deal for them. Despite the riots and rapidly spreading death, he feels like he owes it to Thomas, promising that he will return unharmed. Back to the present, Nick has made his way into a border town, as instructed by this bit of paper that Strand gave him. When he finds the address, he also finds Strand's contact, a guy named Louise. He's the guy that's going to help Strand cross the border, and he's a little surprised to hear that other people will be joining.
You are the person getting all of us across the border, right?
You tidy up, you're definitely not rubbing that stench on my leather interiors.
What do you mean by all of us?
It will be interesting to see if there's even a border force still in place. Even if they're still alive, would they be that concerned about immigration? There's kind of bigger things happening in the world.
Fellow Mexicans! This time, we're gonna try rushing the Texans from the left side.
As they head to a dinghy, Louise explains that in Mexico, there's a massive safe house owned by the Abigail family, with Thomas Abigail being the current boss man, and Louise's mother being one of the other leaders, having worked for the family for so long. Reed's brother and leader of their group, Connor, arrives at the Abigail and orders that Travis and Alicia are brought back to their boat. Right after they leave, Louise and Nick are on the approach, and they see that there's armed strangers aboard. So Louise takes them out with some incredible shots, considering that he's on a fast-moving boat. In the commotion, Maddie stabs Reed, and when Louise hops on board, he says, "What the hell, where's Strand? If there's no Strand, I won't be helping you get into Mexico." The episode ends with Maddie finding Strand in the water, pissed off with him for leaving, but knowing that they still need him. Connor the captor is also Connor the cook, whipping up a premium steak to earn Alicia's trust and make her more compliant. She wanders outside of the ship and realises they're not even in the water. She's keeping her cool and playing nice, while secretly plotting to do something when the time is right.
Sign each one a number.
Travis wakes up in a cage and is surprised to see that Alex is now helping Connor and the pirates, and she was the one who gave up their location. She's angry at Travis, blaming him for being left out at sea, where she was left with no choice but to put down her burned up friend Jake. But why be angry at Travis? He was the one who gave them a fighting chance by suggesting they get towed. If it wasn't for Travis, you'd have been left, as Strand made very clear. Back on the Abigail, Reed is still alive, but looking like a cocktail sausage with a stick jammed through it. Despite this, he's still being very arrogant, and believes that he still has the upper hand to make threats. But Daniel isn't shaken by this.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh, you will be.
In my time, I've known men who inspire fear. Do you know what they have in common? They never say how frightening they are.
Madison sets up a trade so they can each get their family members back. But there's a problem. Chris has just shot Reed, blaming himself for Reed even being here. Well, good going, Chris. The negotiation is now ruined. But wait, nope. Turns out he's a terrible shot, and Reed's brain is still active, but he's a walker now. Daniel then has quite the clever plan. They keep a hood on his head and pretend that he's still alive for the trade. Then, when they do the switcheroo, Walker Reed eats his own bro, and a scuffle ensues. Despite Jack's earnest intentions to be on her side, Alicia slides off the stern to reunite with her family. And that's the episode done. A priest is urging his parish to retain their faith, as this apocalypse is no act of God, it's the devil being naughty, and they can fight against his scourge by arming up and double killing the dead. But then Thomas Abigail rocks up and says no, don't attack the dead, otherwise she will be very angry, whoever she is. But she doesn't need to worry, as this lot all start bleeding from their eyes. Seems someone poisoned the communal wine.
Celia, this was her.
They reach the sea border into Mexico, where surprisingly people are still on duty. The family hide below deck, while Strand and Louise negotiate their entry. It doesn't go well and Louise gets shot. But they stop shooting as soon as the Abigail reaches land. The rationale being that they'll end up dead on land anyway, so why bother wasting ammo? They take out the churchgoers who have all turned Walker, and I've got to say it's refreshingly morbid to see this rare sight of zombie children. It has way more of an emotional punch, and when it's done so sparingly in this franchise, it makes for a really effective reminder of how tragic this world is now. In this scene, we get another Chris moment, where he chooses to stand and watch as Maddie almost dies, and Alicia sees this.
We have to go! Now!
They reach Thomas's safe house, where head lady Celia gives Strand the good news that Thomas is still alive. Well, for now he is anyway, but as he's been bitten, he and Strand will only have a small window of time together before he's gone forever.
If I'd only been here in time, I could have done something.
Yeah, no.
Weirdly, Celia doesn't seem very upset about Louise now being a walker, saying that she still has faith that she'll see him again. Nick and Celia quickly form a friendship, where he's finding the constant presence of death to be mentally draining. She offers a comforting perspective about death, where it's always been present in our lives, it just looks different now. Their bond is something Maddie's not too keen on.
He's special, your son. He's impressionable. The enlightened always are. He's fragile.
Thomas is scared of dying, so Strand says don't you worry, I'm gonna swallow a sleepy time tablet so we can be zombies together. But then, when the time comes, Strand goes back on his word and takes Thomas out before he turns. Daniel finds a whole bunch of walkers being kept alive, and he finds out it's because Celia doesn't see them as dead, just as lost souls who need saving or some shit. It doesn't really matter. Travis is in denial about Chris being a bit deranged, but earlier he basically threatened Alicia about keeping quiet on what she saw, and later as Strand's gunshot wakes them up, they catch Chris standing over their bed with a knife.
Get out!
Don't let the episode title excite you. We don't get to see King Ezekiel's tiger in this one. Maybe if we did, it wouldn't be the lowest rated episode of the season.
Do I detect skepticism?
Oh well, let's see what goes on here. Daniel's dreaming of his childhood trauma, witnessing a bunch of dead bodies floating down a stream. Then he's awoken by the commotion of Strand being told off for breaking his promise to Thomas. Celia says that does it. I want all of you gone. Even you, Nick. I know you haven't done anything wrong and have been nothing but nice to me, but go on, get lost.
Thanks, bye.
Chris goes on the run, with Travis chasing after him, but as he did so without any shoes, his feet are all messed up. He hears a noise coming from this house, but it appears to be just a scared dad. Then Travis notices a shadow from under a door, but the man pleads with him to just leave, as his son's life is in danger, and immediately Travis knows what's up.
Why can't you just let me go?
He tries to run away, but Travis tackles him down, and then Chris starts trying to slice open his own dad. What the actual F is wrong with you? Nick tries to buy Celia's favour back by bringing in Walker Louise, and it kinda works, but she says if your family steps out of line, be it on your head.
You will be responsible for their actions while they are here, ¿me entiendes?
Yes.
Tell your family they are welcome to stay.
He's buying into the idea that the dead aren't actually dead, and he feels comfortable walking among them while wearing his blood mask. Again, it's not really worth humouring the stupid idea of them not really being dead, but it is cool to see Nick going on his own journey and trying to be a better person.
I'm trying to understand.
She wanted her son back. You can understand that. So that's what I did, Mom. I just brought him back. And now we get to stay.
Daniel starts freaking out, saying that he saw his dead wife Griselda, and they need to get out of here. When he then cuts a guy's face, they arrest him and tie him to a chair, where his visions of Griselda continue, created by his guilt of not being able to bury her, along with his other traumatic memories. Celia brings Maddie to the Walker basement, hoping to convert her to her belief system. But while she was busy yapping, Maddie was busy locking her in. Daniel then manages to break out and gets to work on his new mission of burning this place to the ground. And we get these cool stylistic shots where Daniel hallucinates his walkers regaining their previous lives. He sees Griselda among them and feels that in order to rectify his guilt, he must turn her body into ashes. With the safe house up in flames, the group scatter to find somewhere new. But Nick is refusing to come along, believing that all they've done here is destroy someone's home. So he mopes about, pretending to be a fellow walker. Nick wakes up and finds that the housemaid and a young lad made it out. She says come with us, but he says no thanks, I'm heading off to find another community. He walks down a long and lonesome road, giving him plenty of time for flashbacks to the good times with girlfriend Gloria, who you may not recognise as this time she doesn't have human flesh in her gob. We get some heartbreaking insight into his pathway of becoming an addict, but we're not going to recap that part, so we can focus on the here and now. Nick's journey's going well at first, finding a nice spot to camp for the night. But then, when he falls asleep, he's awoken by an angry Mexican lady swinging a bat. She doesn't even allow him to grab his stuff, ordering him to leave immediately. I'm guessing, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. When back on the road, he runs into more trouble, as a gang pull up, looking to loot and kill any survivors. When Nick realises, he makes a mad dash to the bushes, where he successfully evades being shot. But now he's off course, and in desperate need for water, going as far as to drink his own pee.
What's the point? So they can find a corpse with a mouth full of piss?
When he finds a cactus, he instinctively eats the flesh. But as he finds out, and I just found out from googling, most cactus flesh can't be eaten raw, as it will make you vomit. He wakes up to some hungry dogs, who quickly go in for the kill. And when he manages to climb up atop a van, for some reason the dogs give up. Those dogs can definitely jump up there, if not climb up there. The commotion draws in a herd of walkers, where the dogs see a meal ticket, but of course they are the ones who end up being the buffet items. When they finish, they turn to Nick, but luckily get drawn away by a distant gunfire. Which leads us into this grotesque moment, where Nick is eating the dead dog flesh. This would surely make him sick again. He once again blends into a walker crowd, and again we get some neat visuals, where now Nick is hallucinating a human side.
I'll take you home.
Yes! Oh, thank you, Lord in heaven.
We then get one of my favourite moments so far, where the gang comes back to take out the herd, but the herd just keep on coming, and Nick makes eye contact with a gang member who can't believe what he's seeing, and in his panic he gets eaten. Eventually Nick runs out of steam, and he's being watched by some seemingly more friendly strangers. As he's about to give up, he's saved by the rare rainfall. When he finally finds a town, he's at the point of urgency to find antibiotics, or any kind of medical aid. He's then found by the friendly strangers, who give him some water and guide him into a nearby infirmary, with a doctor who luckily speaks English. His name's Alejandro, and he's the leader of this secure town known as the Colonia. Nick wakes up to find the whole town has gathered down the hill to watch a man tearfully sacrifice himself to the walkers. This lady Luciana then puts him to work, feeling they should assign him the dangerous tasks, as no one would miss him if he got killed. On the way, she explains that the man sacrificed himself as he was dying soon anyway, and in death he can still serve a purpose by joining the walkers as a part of this town's defence line. The town also believe there's a spiritual protection, as preached by Alejandro, who they believe to be a man of miracles, as he got bit and didn't turn. Nick calls this out as BS, but for now he has no choice but to be in debt to his services. His current mission is to trade pharmaceuticals for water, which along with food and other essentials, is controlled by a local gang. Yeah, there's going to be lots of gangs in this show, and I'm not going to spend time giving them all names. Nick makes the ballsy move of trying to steal from them, but when caught, he calls their bluff, saying, "Hey, you better treat us nice, otherwise we're not going to trade you any more pharmaceuticals. I saw that you've got a sick sister, and you're running low on meds, so you're going to need us again."
They need it. You let your sister go for 1 week without it? You're gonna pray she turns just so you can kill her.
Alejandro's upset to hear that he almost started a war, and when Nick sees the bite mark on his shoulder, he starts to believe that maybe Luciana was telling the truth about him. Maddie, Alicia and Strand have been looking for Travis and Chris, but the time has come where they need to find shelter, doing so with this beachfront hotel that appears to be vacant.
Are you out of your mind?
If you're wondering where Daniel is, he passed out after starting the fire, so they presume he's dead. Maddie and Strand get busy clearing the hotel bar of all the good alcohol, while Alicia and Ophelia search the hotel rooms, where they notice someone's hung "Do Not Disturb" signs on the rooms where walkers are locked inside. Maddie and Strand are now very drunk and recklessly decide to make a lot of noise. Never a great idea in the zombie apocalypse. All this noise making walkers walk off their balconies and eventually surrounding them behind the bar. In a flashback, we see a wedding reception in the hotel, where all seems fairly typical, but the rumours of the apocalypse are causing a stir.
Saying this sickness they're reporting, they say it's spreading.
You're safe here, Mrs. Stowe. The hotel is very secure.
The bride is trying to enjoy her dance with Daddy, but then suddenly he dies. And you know what that means. The hotel staff know this needs to be contained, so they lock the wedding guests into the room. This is the kind of stuff that keeps a spin-off separated from the main show. I love seeing these flashbacks to the Fallout time period, especially when they're tying it in to what's happening now. Chris is being nice to his father now as they're journeying on the road, staying away from people in the hopes that Chris doesn't try and murder anyone. They use this time to try and rebuild their relationship, Travis granting Chris a level of trust so that he can go search for supplies while Daddy hotwires a car. Takes me back to my childhood. Chris finds a big old tin of frijoles and some precious water, hoping to sneak away from the guys that he's stealing from, but then some walkers come in and draw their attention. So they can see they're being robbed, but they're too preoccupied to do anything about it. Later, when they stop to enjoy the pilfered beans, the people he stole from come along and say, "Oi, that wasn't very nice. But we're not here to cause trouble, let's just hang out and share the beans." Chris wants to buddy up with these guys, taken in by their relaxed nature and upbeat attitude, which is the opposite of Travis's wariness and taking this new dangerous world seriously.
Even after I've stolen from them, they want to share. And they're willing to.
I'm not gonna put ourselves in their debt.
He does agree to stick with them until they get to the next town, which ends up being an abandoned farmstead, which should still be good for stocking up on supplies. We'll check back in with these guys later. At the hotel, Alicia gets stuck in a room as some walkers roam the hall. When she tries sneaking out, she gets spotted and is forced to jump onto some elevator cables. And it's interesting when we see these walkers holding on for balance, so they don't fall when trying to grab her. That's a level of sentience that I don't believe to be consistent with the rest of the Walking Dead universe. An inconsistency that we get to see in an upcoming scene. When climbing up to the next floor, she's offered a hand by a stranger, who immediately interrogates her about the whereabouts of her nephew Hector.
I don't know who Hector is, I don't know who they are. I came with 3 people, my mom, 2 friends.
This lady, Elena, is the person we saw locking the wedding guests into the function room. She says Hector's being held for ransom by the other survivors who were in the hotel, demanding that she trades the master keys for his release. To find their family members, Alicia and Elena work together to lure the hallway walkers into a room so that Elena can lock them in the room while Alicia shimmies across to the next room. Room.
Again, I dare you, I double dare you.
They find the hotel ransom gang and they agree to the trade, but Alicia pulls a trick on them by setting some walkers free. By the end, she finds where Mummy was hiding, which comes as a massive relief, as earlier she came across a walker who was almost a spitting image of her. Back to the farmstead, they get caught by the owner, who doesn't appreciate them trying to eat his chickens, so he shoots one of the new guys, and Chris steps up to take vengeance, deeply disappointing his father. We get to see how Madison and Strand made their way out of the walker-surrounded bar and into the room where they found Alicia. I know it's not super interesting, but it does help to connect the dots. Nick proposes to use his pharmaceutical knowledge to make up for his blunder at the supermarket, saying he'll cut the supply with additional ingredients to increase their inventory for the trade. I'm having to be super careful with this subject. I don't think you can even show this stuff without being flagged. So yeah, you can fill in the blanks at home. Maddie sets up a meet with the hotel gang, saying they need to work together to clear out the dead, otherwise no one will be able to live here.
This place has everything. You can harvest water, grow food, fortify the gates. We can make this place a home.
They make good progress, but it's taking forever, so Alicia comes up with the idea to use the riptide, where Maddie makes a ton of noise to get the walkers following her onto the pier, where they'll then follow her into the powerful riptide, a speedboat at the ready to stop her being taken with it. Looks like they should have held on to the barrier. Later on, Strand gets chatting with Oscar, the groom who survived the lock-in, and Strand convinces him it's time to let go of his wife, as she didn't survive the lock-in and is being kept in a room. Nick and Luciana are bonding over their sob stories, and she's also charmed at his attempts to learn Spanish, so they end up kissing. Ophelia left the hotel unannounced and has come back to the restaurant where she has a lovely memory of her boyfriend proposing to her, but they ended up splitting anyway, so who cares. Back at the hotel, they're getting to work on making this a more viable home, and they even managed to restore the electrics, giving them some easily taken for granted luxuries, like having ice cubes. Man, I would miss ice cubes. Forever suffering with Dr. Pepper that's only fridge cold. I wouldn't be able to live in such dire conditions.
I'm sorry this happened to you.
Things aren't all hunky-dory though, as the bride's mother stabs Strand for his mercy killing yesterday.
You took my daughter from me. You took her.
Don't worry, he'll be fine. A family runs away from town, which has disrupted the production of the goods that they were trading with the gang, and Alejandro's too butthurt about the betrayal to trust anyone else to make the trade. Having a sulk in his office, he says, nah, we're just gonna hide. They don't know where the Colonia is. But then the runaway family tell the gang where the Colonia is. Maddie, Elena and Oscar go to the gang's supermarket, as they happen to shop there too. Maddie overhears an interrogation where they mention an American lad, so she rushes upstairs to ask if they're talking about Nick, but they're too afraid to speak up.
Lo siento. No, you know. I'm just looking for my son.
Hoping to send a signal to Nick, she flips on the hotel lights, which is never a good idea in a zombie apocalypse. Alicia's kind of peed off that she would endanger the life of the child that stuck around to save another one who didn't. A valid criticism. On the plus side, Travis sees this sign, so maybe there's hope for a reunion. Travis takes charge to help the kid that got shot, and advises that he stay put until he recovers. But this plan doesn't sit well with the other lads, who believe this place is tapped out and they need to move on. completely ignoring Travis's other advice about not killing the chickens so they can live off the eggs for a while.
We're all out of chickens.
We should have been eating eggs, I told you that.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Teach. Your school marm shit's getting old.
When the dust settles, he turns to Chris to say what the hell is wrong with you? How can you drink and be merry after coldly killing a man who really didn't deserve it? But Chris says it's kind of Daddy's fault, as he always encouraged him to fit in, to survive being bullied at school. So if these guys are willing to shoot a fella, he should be willing too. And as these guys don't bully him, he's going to show them loyalty. So much so that when the group make a decision that they have to shoot their injured friend and Travis protests, Chris distracts him with a hug, allowing the lads to make their move.
Chris, don't let them do this.
Show me mercy.
What makes this distraction so awful is that Chris feigned vulnerability to make Travis's fatherly instincts kick in, and he's also completely fine with them holding a gun to his father's head, solidifying Chris as the most unlikable character in this whole show, and maybe even the Walking Dead universe, shortly followed by Maddie, but I'll delve into that later. Chris then abandons his father for his new friends, because of course he would. Surprise, surprise, turning on the hotel lights has drawn quite the crowd, all begging to be let in. Travis is among them and manages to slip through, so he's safe, but pretty broken up over what happened. And things aren't looking too positive when the young lads rock up at the hotel and we see that Chris isn't with them. Ophelia's still on the road, presumably heading to find her ex-fiancé, but then her truck breaks down and she has to fight off a few walkers. It's kind of a nothing scene, but while she's on this road trip, she does meet someone quite important. Nick and one of his guard friends sneak off to make the trade with the gang, doing so with the intention of earning their trust back, saying they promise to meet their weekly quota. But the gang no longer have any need for their business, as they got a new supplier, and now they have their eyes set on taking over La Colonia. So Nick and his amigos better scram by day's end, lest they end up like the family they interrogated.
Así que regresa y diles esto. So you run back and say this. Lárguense. You live now o muéranse. Or die.
Maddie's chatting with the American lads, who speak of their long-lost friend who crashed the car and died. So she wonders if they're talking about Chris. I mean, you could just ask them. Instead of finding out the truth, Maddie kicks them out. But Travis sees this and demands to know the truth. He takes them into a room where eventually they confess that Chris died in the car crash. But between them, they can't keep their story straight. So Travis locks the door and beats the truth out of them.
Tell me what happened! What did you do?
Where we see that just like their last friend, they didn't feel like being dragged down by a severely broken leg. Sending Travis into a very satisfying fit of rage, where he kills them both in revenge. As they're making a plan with Alejandro, one of his patients dies and comes back to life, where this time he gets bitten for real, because his famous bite is definitely not from a zombie. I mean, let's be real here. A few more people get caught up in the carnage, but no one we care about. He's eventually forced to confess that he's not immune. The famous bite was just from one of his patients, who was in a drug-fueled rage.
People told a story they wanted to believe. I didn't disabuse them of it.
We started with Ophelia, so let's end with Ophelia. She crosses the border into the US, where she receives some warning shots, where the guy turns out to be someone who appears to be quite friendly.
Buenos dias, señorita. Welcome to America.
Travis gets locked away for what he did, even though he was completely justified in taking out those two bozos. He did also unintentionally kill Oscar, who was just trying to help.
We'll take care of Oscar, then we'll figure out what to do with your
He
husband.
just lost his son.
Madison, they don't
He
care.
didn't know what he was doing.
Madison, they don't care.
And I'm going to use this following scene to explain my disliking for Maddie, as here she seems completely unbothered about the idea of her partner Travis being kicked out. The words in the script are those of someone who does care about Travis, but my god, the actor.
And I told him we'd go with you.
No.
No other choice.
No, the hell there's not.
You leave, we leave. It's done.
What's her name? Kim Dickens. I'm sorry, Kim, I'm sure you're a lovely person, and maybe you're good in other things, but you suck as Madison Clark. Every emotion feels wooden.
Travis! Travis!
Well, then we go with you.
No.
No other choice.
No, the hell there's not.
You leave, we leave. It's done.
Every line is delivered like she wants to speak to the manager, and it gets frustrating real quick. Okay, I've said my piece. Let's move on. With zero comforting, she explains to Travis that they've made a deal for the whole family to leave in the morning. But then Oscar's brother bursts in and threatens to end him.
Hector, make him stop, Hector.
Get out of here. Take Alicia with you.
Don't.
But then Alicia saves the day with a knife jab.
No!
Strand decides he's done with this family's BS for a while and says good luck to you, but I'm out. Alejandro's getting close to dying and he agrees that the town needs to vacate before the gang move in. Nick saw a helicopter landing to the north, so that's where the townsfolk are going to head to, with Alejandro staying behind so that he can move the bus and set the walkers free to deal with this pesky gang. Maddie and co arrive at the Colonia too late, finding Alejandro taking his last breaths, telling Maddie to head to the border where she will find Nick. And that's good night, Alejandro. As Nick and the amigos reach the border, they're attacked by the military, who despite opening fire on them, seem to have no intention of finishing the job, simply placing them under arrest. So why even fire your weapons? Well, let's not dwell on that, as we just got to the end of season 2. My feelings towards this show are getting a little uncertain. Overall, I did enjoy season 2, but I'm starting to get the feeling that it's becoming just like The Walking Dead. And not peak Walking Dead, I'm talking about late game Walking Dead. Giving a big shout out to my supporters, who we see on screen here. You guys keep me going, even when the material I'm covering tests me, which I'm surely going to rely on from season 3 onwards. Thank you for choosing me for your go-to source for these light-hearted recaps. Speaking of which, why not check out this recap here? It's about a show or collection of movies that you love, or maybe hate, and I'm sure you're going to have a good time watching it.